In case if you didn't learn this by watching all of the Wolverine movies, never fuck with Wolverine's family. Prisoners, released in 2013, and it's directed by Denis Villeneuve, who's behind such films like Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and Dune, which is supposed to be coming out later this year, if that's gonna happen at all. And apparently this was his first English release, so it's a way to start out with us over here in America. And this film is starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, Maria Bello, and Paul Dano. Plus it also has Dylan Minnette from 13 Reasons Why, which I gotta say, small little rant on that show. I love that frickin' show for the first season. I thought it was beautiful, it was really, really sad, and really well done. Second season comes around, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm still liking this. It's nice to have a little bit of closure with Hannah. And then I start season 3, and I'm just thinking, oh my god, you fucking kids, go to the fucking police. I had to turn it off after like 15 minutes of the first episode. I'm just like, okay, you guys are taking it upon yourselves way too much here. There's a reason why we have police officers and this thing called the law. But Dylan still has that strangely deep bass voice for a look that, you know, he looks like he's 12 or 13. What did you do to Hannah? What's on the tapes? Why am I involved in this? He's barely in this movie, but I always like calling him out on that. Prisoners is a light-hearted romp that deals with an abduction of Wolverine's child. When Wolverine suspects the Riddler for kidnapping his children, he will not let go of that idea. However, Detective Loki comes into town and of course follows the Riddler and suspects him, but also has a hot new trail on the other side as well. There's a lot of superhero actors in this movie, and it makes me happy. Jake Gyllenhaal's character's name is Detective Loki. He is a god of the detectives. I will solve your case. Kneel before me. Terrible Tom Hiddleston impersonation. But Prisoners, I had heard about this movie for so long. I remember watching the trailers. I remember seeing all the publicity around the film when it was coming out back in 2013. I just never got around to viewing it back then. I did pick up this Blu-ray a couple years back on Black Friday. I just never gotten around to watching it. But I hear from everyone that I listen to, everyone that I talk to who've seen this movie that it is fantastic, it is wonderful, it is creepy, it is suspenseful, and it is 100% all of those things. And please know that when I say in my synopsis that this is a lighthearted romp, it is anything but that. And it's probably one of the only detriments, I think, that this film has. There's no levity at all in this situation or in this story. We're dealing with the abduction of a very young, like 5 or 6-year-old child and the impact that it has on the family and on its community, which I know there is nothing funny about that, and I'm sure that it happens far too much in this country than I'm sure we want to admit. But when it comes to telling a story in any medium, whether that's in novel form, whether that's in a movie, whether it's in a show, when you have a hard, heavy drama like this, there has to be some type of ease of tension, because if you bend that ruler too much and all that tension starts to build up, eventually it's just going to snap. But if you have a little bit of levity in there, the audience can breathe, relax for a couple of minutes, and then the tension can start building up again. We don't get any release of tension at all in this movie. So if you're going into this and you're watching it for the first time, be prepared. This is heavy. That is such an 80s term from Back to the Future, heavy, but that's the only word I can picture to describe what this movie is. It's dark, it's dreary, it's depressing. I don't think there's sunshine at all in this movie. There's constant overcast, rain, snow. You can definitely tell that it's November and December in the Midwest somewhere, whether it's Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, somewhere around there. Looking at the setting, I'm going, yep, I know exactly where that is. I have that like down the street. And it's a typical crime police thriller. Just a heightened elevation probably from an episode of Law & Order SVU. And I think that sounds more like a criticism, but I mean that as a compliment. Because I love Law & Order SVU. I can't get enough of that. So to take a plot or a scenario that we've seen on that show hundreds of times, to see that elevated into movie form and to have it stretched out for 2.5 hours, I enjoy it. From an entertainment standpoint, not that, the situation's actually happening. That's something that I really like about Denis Villeneuve's directing style. He takes his time in every movie, at least that I've seen of his. He's deliberate in every scene, in every angle, in every line that's delivered on screen. It's almost like he gives a middle finger to the film studio when they say, hey, can you make it like 2 hours so we can, get audience audiences in and out and get more money at the box office. I feel like Denis just goes up to him and go like, yeah, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want. Because this movie could probably easily shave off a good 15 minutes, maybe 20, 25 here and there. But again, that's something that I love about Denis Villeneuve. He knows what he wants, he knows the vision that he has, and it doesn't matter how long he needs to tell that story. He's going to tell that story in the exact way that he wants to. Looking at his filmography, or at least the films that I've seen, is there a movie on there that's under 2 hours? I don't think there is. And I'm not complaining at all, although this movie, like I said, is very hard and very depressing to watch. And we get a masterclass of performances from everyone across the board. Hugh Jackman, who basically can do anything, and this definitely proves that he can do the dramatic, psychotic, wants to be a killer but is not a killer but could be the killer type person. He has the capability of showing both weakness, sadness, and then also just brute strength and anger in the exact same scene. You will be beating the crap out of someone or taking a hammer to a sink, and you can see that, yes, this guy is powerful and he could kill you if he wanted to, but you can see also the weakness and the sadness behind his eyes and in his voice. It's a wonderful performance. And it's foiled out with Jake Gyllenhaal, who is very nuanced in this film. He has a lot of quirks and a lot of tics. Every once in a while you'll see him just blinking. And I don't know if that's from past drug abuse, or if that's just from sleep deprivation, or if he's having too much coffee. I don't know, but it's a fun little detail that I love seeing. There were points in this movie where he looked like the guy from Nightcrawler. I forget his name, but those freaking eyes that just bulge out. I think Nightcrawler was around this time. I think it came out the year after, so maybe he was gearing up for that. But he's a great counter actor for Hugh Jackman in this story. Then we have some really nice performances from our supporting characters. Viola Davis, who's amazing in everything that she is in. Terrence Howard, kind of hit or miss with me, but here is definitely a hit. And Paul Dano, who, my God, he is a creepy motherfucker. If you want any proof that he could play the Riddler in the new The Batman movie that's coming out, the one with Matt Reeves, here you go. That guy's creepy as hell. And you never know until the end if he did do it or if he didn't. Man, Denis Villeneuve, again, is brilliant with keeping us, the audience, guessing as to what's happening here and who's behind it. Sometimes Hugh Jackman is saying that Paul Dano's character, he whispered something to me in a scene that we just saw. He whispered to me. It was clear as day, but no one else heard it. I had to go back and listen for it. I'm like, did he really say what Hugh Jackman is screaming that he did? Nope, I couldn't hear it from even the second viewing. Well done, Denis. You know, when it's written on paper, the name is Dennis, but I know everyone calls him Denis because I think that's actually how it's pronounced, but I'm fighting the urge to call him Dennis. Denis Villeneuve. I am absolutely going to recommend this movie to people that have not watched it. If you've watched it before, I don't know if you necessarily need to watch it again, because it's tough to get through. Again, it's 2.5 hours of just complete tension and depression. It is gray, it is bleak, there is not a hope in the world during this entire movie, even at the end. But if you've never seen it before, it is definitely worth checking out at least once. I wonder, I'm not sure how this would be on a repeat viewing when you find out who is actually behind it and the twists and turns that it takes. Might be something to experiment down the road, but on the first viewing, it is a definite recommend. I'm going to give Prisoners 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
It's good. It's good.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next. So let's take a look. Scaffer! Here's a scaffer in a crime. The James Bond movie that is hailed as like the greatest Bond movie ever. Right? Or at least that's what everyone was talking about when it came out. I remember watching this one in theaters. This was around the golden age of movie-going for me when I worked at a mall and my wife worked at a mall. So we were there all the time, and that mall had a movie theater. So whenever I was finished with my job and my shift, there was typically like 2.5, 3 hours where I needed to wait for her so we can drive home together and save on gas. So I would always go to the movies after that. This was one of those movies. I'm a huge Casino Royale fan. I love Daniel Craig as James Bond, so I remember being really pumped for this one, but I also remember kind of being let down because everyone was so big on this one and hyping it up. I haven't watched it since I bought it many years ago, so maybe it's aged well for me? We'll check it out next time. Thank you very much, Dan Hensley, for the recommendation of Prisoners. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, leave a comment below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, and leave your recommendation there. If I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out on the channel. So guys, have you seen Prisoners? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you saw here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and hit that bell so you know the next time I release my next movie review, and send your friends and your family over here if they love hearing people talk about movies and bash on movies, gloat on them. Send them over here and have them hit the subscribe button as well. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Skyfall. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.